Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla and it's time to crack into a good book. So today's video is obviously going to be a book haul. I was trying to not buy as many books since, obviously Christmas is coming up and then my birthday's in January, but Black Friday sales got me. Amazon did a lot of buy two, get one free on books, so that's what I did. I did win a couple of giveaways, so I have that to show as well. Before getting into the books, I do want to say I'm probably going to be pre-filming a lot of videos just because I don't necessarily want to be filming and editing over the holidays, I guess. So yeah, I just be aware that that's likely going to happen. And my plan generally is to do best of the year video type things in January. So yeah, that's just wanted to let you know what my plan was, I guess. I'll talk about the 2 Goodreads giveaways that I've won since my last book haul. So one of them is really bizarre, and that is the Goldblum Variations by Helen McClory. So this is just a tiny little book, and it's adventures of Jeff Goldblum across the known and unknown universe. So honestly, I kind of forgot that I had entered to win this giveaway. I anticipate this is going to be really weird. I guess our author really likes Jeff Goldblum, and this is a collection of stories, musings, puzzles, and games based on the one and only Jeff Goldblum as he and alternate versions of himself travels the known and unknown universe in a mighty celebration of weird and wonderful Goldbluminess. Yeah, so I think this is going to be super weird, but hopefully it's entertaining. So the other book that I won is Love Her or Lose Her by Tessa Bailey. So this is kind of a second in the series that was started by Fix Her Up, and it's kind of like a companion novel where we follow a different couple than the first book. And I'm actually really glad that I won this because I had been debating on whether or not I wanted to actually read it because Fix Her Up wasn't my favorite, and that I think it was mostly to do with the main male love interest. I didn't enjoy really how he interacted with our main female character. I'm hoping that this is going to be better since we follow a different couple. So we follow Rosie and Dominic. They're the perfect couple, high school sweethearts, best friends, madly in love. Well, they used to be anyway. Dominic, I think it was the former soldier, and basically their marriage is kind of having some problems. They're doing some sort of marriage boot camp, basically. Rosie eventually learns that Dominic has some sort of secret. And I seem to recall in the first book that she wants to start her own restaurant, maybe. Hopefully this will be better than Fix Her Up. In my December Unplugged book box, I got Queen of the Conquered by Kaysen, still don't know how to pronounce this, Kaysen Callender. So this is a Caribbean-inspired fantasy. Oh, it's evidently a duology. That's cool. So our main character is the only survivor when her family was massacred by the colonizers who came to this island. And the king of the islands has declared that he's going to choose his successor among the various noble families, and our main character is ready to exact her revenge. And I do believe, if I'm remembering right, she has some sort of magical ability where she can kind of has some sort of mind control powers, maybe. I may be misremembering that. Yeah, I was really excited about this, but I've heard kind of meh reviews, so now I'm a little nervous, but we'll see. It came in my book box, so I'm still excited to read it. I hope I do enjoy it. So the next book I have to show you, I actually bought from one of my local bookstores, and I thought it was very appropriate because it is also set in North Carolina, and the author lives in North Carolina. So that is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. So T. Kingfisher is a pen name for Ursula Vernon, I believe. So this is the horror novel set in rural North Carolina, and our main character, Mouse, is supposed to clean out her dead grandmother's house, but her grandmother evidently was a hoarder, so this is going to be kind of a large task. And she finds her step-grandfather's journal, and it seems to be kind of, a madman's ravings, I guess. But then she, in the woods, discovers some of these creepy twisted ones herself, and realizes that these things are actually real. There's a dog companion, so that's always exciting. I think this is supposed to be pretty good in general. Again, it takes place in North Carolina, so that was exciting. But yeah, so I went ahead and picked it up. Barnes & Noble sent me a coupon, and naturally I can't resist that. So the first book I picked up there was Would Like to Meet by Rachel Winters. So I just talked about this in my December releases video and obviously picked it up. So our main character works for a film agency, and she's trying to get this writer to give her agency a screenplay that he owes them, but he doesn't believe that romantic comedies are really all that legit. So she has to prove to him that you can in fact meet someone in real life using these techniques. So basically she's reenacting various romantic comedy moments and showing that it's possible, I guess, to meet a man with these techniques. So this sounds really funny. It's obviously a romance. I hope it's good. So the next book that I picked up was The Beautiful by Renee Audier. So this is actually a signed edition, so that was exciting. So this is set in 1872 in New Orleans, and there are vampires. So I think the vampire aspect is maybe like not as played up as much. This seems to be, or maybe it's like the setting isn't like all that necessary or something. I don't remember what the problem here was. Basically, there's a serial killer kind of on the loose who is like trying to get our main character, I guess. And so she's like, our main character takes matters into her own hands, and then there's some sort of vampire aspect. So I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews on it. Hopefully, I'll enjoy it. You never know. I'm so sad. There was like a really sticky sticker on it that I had some problems removing, and so I like used Goo Gone. Now the cover's kind of all wonky, but well, that is neither here nor there. The next book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble was Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. This is the second book in the Children of Blood and Bone series. I don't know what the series is actually called. Generally, it's like an African-inspired fantasy series where we've got different types of magic, but like magic has disappeared. The king orders like all these magi to be killed. So our main character is like trying to bring back magic and like fight against the monarchy. And then we've got like a rogue princess and who she like joins up with, and they're trying to like evade the crown prince because they're trying to like, obviously erase magic for good. And there's definitely a lot of romance, and it kind of falls into like the YA trope of like matching pairs with pairs. Like everybody needs to be matched up for romance, but I still really enjoyed the first one. I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, so I'm hopeful that the second one's going to be good. So I think our main character is like trying to unite the Magi here, and she's like fighting to secure the princess's right to the throne and just like generally protect the Magi. Obviously, I'm trying to remove all the possible spoilers from the synopsis here. So I also bought, I think from Barnes & Noble, Derived the Magics by Nora Roberts. So this is the third book in the Chronicles of the One series. I did recently buy the second book in the series, and this was like 40% off, so I don't know. I liked the first book enough that I think I'm going to enjoy the series in general. So the first book was Year One, and we have some sort of disease that kills a lot of people, and like, the government falls apart and society falls apart. We kind of watch as that happens, and then there's like magic that appears, I guess. We follow, our characters as they try to survive in this new world, and there are obviously people who are kind of just like really savage and try to kill everybody and like, take over all their resources and whatnot. So the second book, I think, follows the daughter of some of the main characters from the first book, and like she's supposed to be, I think, the savior or something. So I haven't read the second one yet, so like I'm not really sure what happens, and I don't want to like really spoil myself. There's some sort of like trying to free people who are locked up in labs who are maybe being experimented on. She has to like help these people that she's rescued heal and move on with their lives, I guess. And she's like, I think it's kind of like the ultimate fight against whatever evil being or whatever is in the second book, perhaps. And so then we get into some of the books that I got from Amazon. So I picked up Thunderhead and The Toll by Neil Shusterman. So this is the second and third books in this Scythe series. Arc of the Scythe is, in the Arc of the Scythe series. So I did read Scythe in November and really loved it. So I was like, I loved it enough to pick up the second and third ones, and this one just came out, and I think it's a trilogy. This series is like sort of this dystopian utopian where, like death, poverty, disease, whatever, etc. have been wiped out, and these scythes are like tasked with killing people to control the population. So our two main characters in the first book are like apprentices to scythes, and we learn about the Thunderhead, which is kind of the thing that allowed, I guess, this society to come about. I think this one deals more with like, is the Thunderhead going to intervene in events or just like watch as this like perfect utopia kind of crumbles? And then I have no idea what The Toll is about, but I assume we just like continue on with this whole storyline and, is this utopia going to crumble and what's going to happen? So like, I don't want to spoil things, and I don't want to spoil things for myself since I haven't read Thunderhead yet, but yeah, I'm really excited to pick both of these up. The next book I have to show you is Book Love by Debbie Tung. So this is like a little short comic series where it's like all about love of reading, and it just looks really cute. I heard Chelsea Palmer talk about this on her channel, and it just, I don't know, it looks charming, it looks cute. I think we can all relate to the joys of books and whatnot. I think I remember seeing one of the comics as like this girl packing a suitcase full of books, and you know, it's like obviously like I need to have enough to read on these trips and stuff. And I mean, that's a really terrible description of a comic, but it looks cute. I'm excited to read it. The next book I have to show you is the Bromance Book Club by Lyssa Kay Adams. So this is a romance where our main character is a baseball player, and his marriage is in trouble, and he basically finds out that his wife has always been faking the big O, shall we say. So he like kind of loses his shit, and they've already been having some issues, and she wants a divorce. He joins a secret romance book club made up of various men because they want to like learn from these romance novels about like how to save their marriages and whatnot. I've heard this is really charming and really adorable. It sounds hilarious. The next book I have to show you is My Lady Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. So I've heard, I think, Michelle from Books Michelle and Elise from Elise Reads and Speaks talk about this. This is, I think, a little series about like the Lady Janies, which are various retellings of Janes from history or books. So I think the second one is like a retelling of Jane Eyre, but this is kind of a retelling kind of Lady Jane Grey. Her cousin is the King of England, and he has arranged for her to be married to like secure the line of succession. But her I guess arranged or her intended husband is it's like Gifford, call him G, is a horse. So I think every day at dawn he becomes a horse, but then he, I think, wakes up as a human at night. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, so I think this is just like a historical retelling of Lady Jane Grey, but obviously there's fantasy elements because we have shifters. The next book I have to show you is An Easy Death by Charlaine Harris. So this is the first book in the Gunny Rose series. So this is set in the US, and this is like sort of dystopian, I think, and I guess Texas and Oklahoma have joined to become Texoma. So we've got some magic that's acknowledged, but I guess distrusted. Our main character is a gunslinging mercenary. She's hired by some Russian wizards to, I guess, be their guide. They're looking at the like border towns near Mexico to find a low-level magic practitioner because they think he is the descendant of Rasputin, and that I guess he can save the Tsar of Russia's life. So I guess this is kind of like an alternate reality where Franklin Roosevelt was assassinated, and I guess the Great Depression has like kind of fractured the United States. But yeah, so I think this is just kind of like a Western-inspired fantasy series. Charlaine Harris obviously wrote the Sookie Stackhouse series, which I did like generally enjoy for the most part. Like the last few books were not good, but I've heard good things about this one. So the next book I have to share is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. So this is a romance where I think it's an enemies to lovers thing. Our main characters like really don't like each other, and they have to work together. They like clearly have like wildly different personalities. And so they're up for the same promotion and have to, like, I guess, fight each other for that. The tension has reached its boiling point, and, like, basically they discovered that they don't actually hate each other. I've heard it's enjoyable, so I do tend to enjoy this enemies to lovers type romance, so I am excited to read that. The next book I have to show you is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. So I did pick this up mostly based on Chelsea Palmer because she loves this, and it was part of the sale, and I was like, yeah, that sounds actually pretty interesting. Our main character was like a baby when her mother like leaves her husband and flees Alaska because, you know, like she can't handle the extreme rural lifestyle, so they leave the main character's father behind. The main character is currently living in Toronto and learns that I guess her father may be dying, and she like kind of wants to fix their estranged relationship. So she's like trying to connect with her father, and there's I think some romance with a rugged Alaskan pilot. She's a city girl, kind of like in this rural like atmosphere, I guess, and so she's like kind of having to adjust to that. Honestly, it sounds really cute and adorable. I hope I like it. We'll see. The next book I have to show you is The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackworth. So I have talked about this at some point on my channel, I think maybe in my October releases video. The premise of this is like the books that aren't finished live in this library of the unwritten in hell, and restless characters can emerge from these books. The librarians, I guess, of this library have to like keep them under control and, you know, make sure nobody escapes. So our main character is the head librarian. A hero escapes from his book. Our main character has to like track him down and capture him. And she's helped by looks like a muse and a demon. And then there's an angel attacking them because he thinks that they hold the devil's Bible, which is like, I guess, a weapon in the struggle between heaven and hell. So the librarians have to find a book with the ability to reshape the boundaries between heaven, hell, and earth. So that sounds really fun. I've heard pretty good reviews about it. I was excited to read it, and it was part of the sale, so I picked it up. The last book I have to show you today is Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. So this is like a YA fantasy, and our main character is born to a family of witch doctors, and she like wants her own magic, but she is struggling with her lack of, I guess, magical abilities. Some charlatans in the market trade years of their own lives for a taste of magic, and so she, I guess, was originally not going to risk this, but then the kingdom's children begin to vanish, and so she trades the years of her life in order to get magic to catch the child kidnapper. But then she finds that the Demon King is stirring, and his hunger for souls will bring her world to its knees unless she pays the price for the magic to save it. The premise sounds awesome. It was one that I had been kind of looking forward to. I've heard like it's maybe a bit of a slow start, but ultimately pretty enjoyable. So yeah, hopefully I like it. Those are all of the books that I have bought since my last book haul. Obviously, it was quite a few. I really failed at, I didn't even mention all the Kindle books. I'm not going to do that. My guess is I'll read quite a few of them over the next few weeks, and I'll just talk about them in my wrap-up. So it'll be a bit of a surprise which ones I got, I guess. Clearly, I did not restrain myself with Black Friday sales. Oh well. I'll read these books eventually. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these and think I should prioritize some more than others. Do you think you'll pick up any of these books? I hope you're having an excellent day and are reading something awesome. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, as that would certainly help me out. But with that, I think I'm going to wrap it up here and see you in the next one.